Well, join me right now on the line is an actress whose name you know, and she is bringing one of the greatest women's boxers of all time story to life in the new movie Christy, which is out November the 7th. The one and only Sidney Sweeney joins us. Sidney, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Look, congrats on the film. I know this is a story that you're so passionate about, and I know that you helped bring this to life. How does it feel that people are finally going to get to see this movie?
I'm so incredibly proud of it, and I'm just cannot wait for people to see this. Christy is one of the most inspiring women that I've ever met in my entire life, so it's a privilege to be able to bring her story to the big screen.
What was the appeal? What was the appeal about her story in particular that made you go, okay, yeah, this is the story I want to do?
I mean, there's so many different layers to it. One, the fights that she's had, not only within the ring but outside of the ring, are just mind-blowing and tremendous, and the woman that she is still today is so inspiring and impactful. I think that her story, like she said, she hopes it saves lives, and I really think that it will. And then just the trailblazer and underdog that she was, she's fascinating as an actor, getting to play a character that was so multifaceted and complex and had the crazy complexities in life that she had to deal with. And then also getting to fight in a ring. That's always a really good time.
Well, I wanted to ask you about fighting in the ring, but real quick on Christy, because you're so right. People who know her story or have read about it or seen any of the stuff that's come out about her, there's like 10 movies that could be made on any certain part of her life. So, because she's had so many different stories, how was it to focus in on what y'all did do in this particular version of the film?
I mean, there's so much life to explore with Christy. You're so right with that. I think that was honestly one of the hardest parts of it. Is there's so much we wanted to tell, and having to condense it down to a movie timeline is always difficult because there's so much life for somebody. But I think that we definitely portrayed and showed Christy and her struggle and her past in such a way that Christy's really proud of it. And that's honestly all that matters to me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Normally when you do like a biopic, it might be of a figure who's no longer around or maybe from a long time ago. So the research might be a little bit more difficult or whatever the case may be. But in this particular case, you have Christy there. Did you talk to her ahead of time to get to know her before playing the role, or did you want to stick to the characterization that was in the screenplay?
No, I got to talk with her beforehand. She was with us. She was on set more often than not. We loved having her around. I loved having her insight and her energy around me all the time. She was a huge beneficial part to the story, and I always believe I am a vessel for my character and for Christy. So we didn't want to, Hollywoodize her life in any type of way. We wanted it to be as truthful and grounded as possible.
So when you have her there, especially for the boxing scenes, I'm obviously any of them would be intimidating. Any scene, when you're playing a real person and they're on set watching, you might have a little intimidation there, but you're saying you're being that vessel. But in the boxing scenes in particular, was there an extra layer of anxiety? I want to make sure that I throw this hook the way that Christy threw it. And would she give you any coaching from the side?
Oh, I came to life in the ring. I loved it. I felt like I was actually going to fight. I would wake up that day nervous. I was am I gonna win or lose? It was so much fun. And then Christy would be in my corner. She'd be yelling at me, being like, "Hit her with the left hook," and it felt like real boxing fights. It was pretty fun.
And because you're not foreign to that kind of thing. I think I read somewhere you grew up kickboxing and things of that nature. So this kind of lets you be also an athlete and not just an actor.
It did. I grew up kickboxing, grappling. I trained at Gokor Hayastan. It's where Jean LaBelle and Vinny Leggett all trained. It was like Ronda Rousey sensei. So I definitely grew up in that world, and I loved it. So being able to tap into that side of me and use those techniques and work on it a little bit more I loved it. It was so much fun.
So when you're mixing it in the ring, right? Like Mike Tyson famously said, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face. And when you're on set and letting a few live wires, get thrown, a few live wires get thrown, and I'm sure in training you get popped a few times. I'm sure that gives you a different level of appreciation for what Christy would do, and almost energize you at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's really fun and cool is we actually fought. So all of those scenes that you get to see in the movie, we're actually connecting. There were bloody noses. I got a concussion. I'm icing my face every single day in between takes. We were actually going full force at each other.
What was the recovery process then like? Like, well, how'd you wake up the next day? How were you feeling?
Sore. And I can only imagine how sore Christy actually was.
I can only imagine, anytime I get to go to Vegas and watch some of the great fighters fight, you always go like, man, this is a hell of a way to make a living. The sacrifices that they go through. But I feel like boxing, the reason I think boxing movies work so well is because it is such a perfect life's metaphor. Boxing is. It's the sweet science. It's being ready to counterpunch, being ready to change your strategy at any moment, having to fight back through adversity at each round. It's just such a beautiful backdrop for a story.
It is. I mean, I've always appreciated fighters. I think that it's definitely, it's sometimes more of a mental game than physical.
You know what's interesting is like when I read up on this film, people are describing it as, Sidney Sweeney, like you've never seen her before. But I always feel like that's your superpower. Is I don't think that you do the same thing twice, whether it's Anyone But You or Americana or man. When I saw you in Eden this year, I mean, what a performance you gave in Eden, and something like so unlike anything you've done before. Like that's kind of the Sidney Sweeney superpower, is it not?
Thank you. I mean, I love challenging myself in new ways. I fell in love with acting because I get to play so many different characters. Like that's what's so fascinating and cool about my job is I don't get to be the same person twice. And so I think that when I take that approach and I try to find different roles that challenge me and scare me in new ways and are just completely different from one another.
If I could ask you about Eden real quick, because I really did love that movie and the way that Ron Howard, I mean, everybody in that film, I felt like gave a performance that I wasn't used to seeing them in. How was it working with somebody like Ron?
Oh my God, it was a dream. I mean, Ron Howard's a legend.
Right.
And what was so cool is this is his passion project for the last 30 years. He's been obsessed with it. And so being able to be a part of bringing this to life for him was such a treat to be able to watch and see happen. And I mean, I was just picturing myself that I was working with Ron Howard, so it was pretty cool.
What a strange story, too. What just a strange story Eden was, but so fascinating in the same way that Christy is. So let me ask you this. You finish the film. It goes through the edit. When you see the first cut, do you see it with Christy, or have you seen the movie with her yet?
I have. I've seen it with her a few times, and it's been an experience every single time. I remember the first time I got to see it actually with her was at TIFF, and she was sitting right in front of me, and every single time Lisa would lean over and give her a hug or squeeze her hand, I would just start crying. Oh, it was such an emotional experience.
I can only imagine, but like, were you kind of watching her out of the corner of your eye to see how she would react to certain moments, or did you just kind of stay focused?
I mean, she'd seen the movie before, so I knew what she thought of it. She'd called me right after. She was like, Sidney, I felt like you went back in time and you lived those moments with me, or how else would you have known that's how I did that, or I moved like that, or I said that. So that's honestly like the greatest compliment I could have ever received.
One of my favorite things about movies such as yours and Christy again in theaters November the 7th, we're talking to Sidney Sweeney, or when I go to a live show or any Broadway production, whatever it might be, I love the conversations I have with my wife in the car afterward. Just whatever that art inspired, right? Not only talking about did we like the movie or not, but what the movie says. What do you want the car conversations to be after people see Christy on November the 7th?
I hope that they encourage other people to see this film. Christy says that she hopes that this movie saves lives, and I really think that it will, and I hope that it does. I hope that it opens up the doors for others who might be in similar situations to see that they have the strength within themselves to get out, and I just hope that it starts a conversation.
Well, you know what? I'm sure that it will, Sidney. It's been a phenomenal chat with you. Congratulations on all your success, and congratulations on Christy. Everybody definitely go check that out. Sidney, I really appreciate you.
No, thank you. I appreciate this. Thank you so much.